All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Rise Zion. My name is Seth, and I hope you're all having a very wonderful Wednesday. Over the past few days, as you know, we've been discussing the church's finances. It was just recently that James Huntsman lost in spectacular fashion in the California Ninth Circuit of Appeals, 11-0. The court said that no reasonable juror could conclude that the Utah-based faith misrepresented the source of funds it used to spend $1.4 billion on the building and development of the City Creek Center, which is a church-owned mall and residential tower in downtown Salt Lake City. There has certainly been a lot of controversy over the wealth of the church lately, and in response, the church and Elder Bednar posted a firm rebuke to these lies and misrepresentations that anti-Mormons have spread about the church's finances, clearly outlining how the church uses these sacred tithing funds. Well, today we're going to explore this even further. We're going to examine the wisdom of the church's investment branches and see how the church uses these investments to benefit millions of people around the globe. And importantly, how the church may be building infrastructure for God's kingdom on earth, even Zion. And we too need to be wise as individuals when it comes to our own personal investments and finances and how we use our money. We can follow the church's example and gain learning and understanding in self-sufficiency, which is so important for all of us. Even if we believe that the second coming is right around the corner, if the church is investing, so should we. This news article came to my attention, and it's entitled, Mormon Church Pays $289 million for Dozens of U.S. Farms. It was published on October 10th of 2024 by Sarah Zimmerman. And it says, the Mormon Church has for decades gobbled up farmland across the United States, quickly becoming a major landowner in areas like Florida and Nebraska. So notice how the Mormon Church is gobbling you guys. And they didn't use the proper name of the church either, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But anyway, this kind of soft bigotry we've just come to kind of expect over the years. Just as Brigham Young was portrayed in the new Netflix series American Primeval as some sort of conniving Batman villain with vampiric dark circles under his eyes, the church is gobbling like some sort of a villainous greedy turkey. Now, the same kind of language was not used, you'll notice, when Sarah Zimmerman published a similar story about the Chinese, who are actually villainous and who are actually gobbling up U.S. farmland to the detriment of everyone, by the way, especially U.S. farmers. But in any case, let's continue reading. That's just a tangent here. So it says the LDS Church owns approximately 1.7 million acres of land primarily used for agriculture, according to Landgate, a commercial real estate advisory service, making it one of the largest institutional landowners in the United States. That's very remarkable. It's estimated the church owns $16 billion worth of property across the country, with around $2 billion for agriculture land, according to Landgate. The Mormon Church recently embarked on a farm buying spree across Nebraska in 2018, and over the next 5 years, the church became the state's top single buyer of land, according to Successful Farming. The church's pace of purchases put it on track to become the state's largest landowner, surpassing CNN founder and philanthropist Ted Turner. So yes, for many years, the church's real estate investment arm has been buying millions of acres of land used for agriculture and also to advance its interest in investment. And where are the majority of these purchases? That's right, in the breadbasket of the United States, but all over the place, right? And they are outbuying philanthropists like Ted Turner. And I was curious as to why this was even relevant to the story that was written, right? Why does Ted Turner also need to be mentioned in this story? Does he use the land for philanthropic purposes? So I decided to look this up, you guys, and this guy, let me tell you, is a gem of a human being. Here's just a few quotes from him. He said, the United States has got some of the dumbest people in the world. I want you to know that we know that. And in another quote, he actually had to apologize for. He said, and this is in a summit, of course, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. He said, the Chinese are very smart. Just think, have you ever met a dumb Chinaman? Very seldom do you see Chinese restaurants close. Okay, so yeah, a very interesting use of the word Chinaman. And this was the word for which he had to apologize for. And by the way, not for saying that the United States has got some of the dumbest people in the world. But upon further investigation, we discovered that Ted's extremely large land purchases are not primarily used for feeding the impoverished and caring for the poor, but for specifically keeping most people off of the land in conservation efforts. He does run a bison ranch for conservation. The extra meat is sold in Ted's Bison restaurants at premium prices and not necessarily used for feeding the poor, which may be a good goal in and of itself, but perhaps not at the expense of human beings for whom he appears to show some amount of contempt. He has made other statements with regards to overpopulation and the need for population control in the United States, echoing Bill Gates' sentiment. He said, "But the main problem to be addressed is too many people, a surging population that is overwhelming the Earth's resources." And of course, the foundation that he runs is closely partnered with the Bill Gates Foundation, who has also been gobbling up the United States agriculture land at an alarming rate. But you'll notice that the word gobbling was not used in this article to describe Ted Turner. So let's continue reading here. Farmland Reserve, the investment arm of the church, leases land to local farms primarily in the United States, according to its website. The nonprofit also leases land for solar and wind renewable energy. In addition to its vast land holdings, LDS, strange use of the the term LDS. So LDS also runs a number of farms through the for-profit subsidiary Ag Reserves. The Ag Reserves network includes row crop farms, ranches, and tree crop orchards in North America, South America, Europe, and Australia. Ag Reserve's mission is to invest in and operate agricultural assets to generate long-term value for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, according to its website. Farming is also central to the Mormon Church's robust private welfare system, which relies on a network of farms, ranches, dairies, and food processing facilities to produce goods that can be redistributed to members in need. Many of these welfare farms are run by volunteers, though some church members serve on these operations as missionaries. The welfare system produces hundreds of millions of pounds of food a year. Okay, so we finally get to the part in the article where it talks about the church's use of these investments as a network that are used to redistribute this food to members in need. And not only to members, but to people all over the world. The article actually got that slightly wrong. This food goes literally all over the place and helps millions of people all over the world. But the great part about all of this is that the church uses its investments to make more money in order to help more people and spread the gospel all over the world. And so it's very wise. And we can learn so much from this in our own lives. We have to learn that by using economic forces and being smart, we can do much more for our fellow man through service than we ever could if we were struggling financially ourselves. We should therefore get our own finances in order and make as much money as possible to help as many people as possible learn the gospel and to feed as many people as we can and to become self-sufficient and not starve ourselves and go bankrupt in the process. This is wisdom. Look at how the United States government has bankrupted itself by trying to pay for all of its vast entitlement programs and benefits. This is not sustainable. Compare that with how the church operates with only 10% of our income. What a difference. The church takes a mere fraction of what the United States government seizes by force, by the way. I mean, there's no comparison. Christ's way is better. We should choose religion as the vehicle for charity and welfare in this country, not the federal government. The church on its website has a video, which I can't play with audio because it features the choir at Temple Square singing music, which is copyrighted, but I will play just the video as I read the statements that volunteers made while performing services at these various church locations. So it says, in this time of year, people around the world are focusing on giving gifts and giving thanks. We think the best gifts come in the form of service. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints produces hundreds of millions of pounds of food on church-owned welfare farms every year. Then volunteers distribute the food to the poor and needy, regardless of their religious affiliation, around the world. I think some of the greatest opportunities in life are when you have a chance to serve somebody else, one volunteer said. The welfare farm yields crops of green beans, apples, wheat, peaches, raisins, potatoes, and more that all help to sustain a healthy diet when an emergency strikes. Familiar with the LDS or not, everyone is invited to lend a hand and serve others. Said another volunteer, when you serve others, you forget about yourself and your own worries. All right, so I love how this video shows the millions and millions of pounds of food that go to help people all over the world. It's just amazing to see this great network of food all over the place. And this video was filmed back in 2014, actually, and so that network is now much, much larger. It's amazing to consider. And I've also often said to people, would you rather give the poor, so in this hypothetical situation, would you rather give the poor a bulk payment of $1 million in one day, or would you rather give them 1 penny, which doubles in value every day over the course of 30 days? Okay. And many of you have already heard this example before. If you are wise, you understand that investment and compound interest, again, using economic forces to do good, are infinitely better. If you grab a calculator and double the value of a penny for 30 days, you end up with $5,368,709.12. So, who helps the poor the most? The church that invests, or the church that foolishly dumps cash into a project exhausting its bank accounts in one lump sum? Let's not be foolish in our personal lives as well. Instead of incurring debt, for example, you might consider how you can leverage debt to earn more money for you and your family in the long run. Instead of overspending on Christmas or wasting bonus money, you might consider saving it for a rainy day or investing in a good ETF. So you can eventually retire, so you can retire early even, so you can serve the Lord more effectively. These are just some thoughts. I'm not a financial advisor myself, but you can and should do the research on your own. These are some important things to know, and it's important to learn from the example of the church who operates its finances very, very wisely. And it's a good thing too, because as we approach the second coming, it seems to me that the church is investing in more and more farmland in preparation. This certainly is a part of how the church is building Zion in the latter days. We should consider that the church could be building an important infrastructure to support itself during potentially rough times, during tribulations, for example, which are ongoing, but also during the good times when we are establishing the Lord's kingdom on earth, which is all very exciting. And in addition to this, as some people in the comments have rightly pointed out, the church is in direct competition with some truly evil people for the land of this great nation, even the tyrannical and I think objectively evil Chinese Communist Party, who for some reason our idiotic government has decided to allow to purchase U.S. farmland for many, many years. The church is also purchasing land in competition with people like Bill Gates and Ted Turner, and even BlackRock, who hold their fellow human beings with some degree of contempt. In their eyes, other people are destroying the world and need to be controlled by force. So they buy up all the land in an attempt to control what is done with it, which is not good for humanity. Their philosophies are not conducive to human growth and development. While conservation and good stewardship of the earth is important, the land was created and given to mankind for his use. It is vital that the church be allowed, therefore, to continue to purchase lands as their values are more closely aligned with the type of philanthropy, for example, that gives to the needy and poor and uses the land for human prosperity rather than attempting to promote negative population growth or economic shrinkage. And all of this through the restrictions of land use. By force, in other words, which is in and of itself another conversation altogether. But suffice it to say at the moment that the mission of the church will go forward. No unhallowed hand will stop the work. And if this nation is to remain truly free, I think it will only be done through Jesus Christ's millennial reign. All right, that's it for the day. But before you go, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Our new goal is to reach 20,000 subscribers in 3 months to help these important messages spread on the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.